Barbecue freezer meals.
Barbecue season is right around the corner. We definitely need some barbecue freezer meals for our repertoire.
We have been doing a lot of grill kind of recipes, especially the last few years. I mean, things like marinated meat lend themselves so well.
I love it.
And lately we've been designing some recipes specifically for the barbecue. So I feel like our barbecue recipes are just getting better and better and better, which is super exciting. And I'm actually just coming off of like a recipe high. I don't know what to say here, but like I'm just coming off of having newly tried one of these recipes for the first time, and I'm so excited about it and so excited to tell you about it. We're gonna leave that one for a little bit later in the video, just to like keep you watching, you know, little trick that we're doing. We're so sneaky.
We're
even telling you. But stay tuned for that. First, we're going to tell you about two for the barbecue recipes that actually pair really nicely together.
Yes, ma'am, they do.
And when we've eaten them, we've sometimes just made them both. And it's a lovely marriage of Cajun shrimp skewers and sesame steak.
Yes. Yes to all of the above. They're each good on their own, but they do go really nicely together.
So I'm gonna get you to tell them about the sesame steak.
I will tell them about the sesame steak.
Since, you know, I don't eat beef.
Totally fine.
But my husband and my boys were huge, huge fans. One of my daughters would have been a massive fan as well. She just didn't happen to be home at the time that we tried it. So I do know it's a great recipe, but I just feel like it's more authentic to have Christy tell you about it.
It's totally true because I do eat beef and I have made this myself. The sesame steak starts with our steaks. We're going to put them right into our large freezer bag. We're going to mix together our spices in a separate bowl. We're going to add in lemon pepper, oregano, basil, thyme, marjoram, and garlic powder. We're going to mix those all together and then sprinkle them over top of the steak. We're going to smoosh them around to make sure that the steak is properly rubbed. We're going to get that excess air out of that bag and seal it up. In another bowl, we are going to add tahini, ginger, salt, paprika, minced garlic, soy sauce, sour cream, and a bit of water. We're going to mix that together and put it into a medium-sized freezer bag, get out the excess air, and seal that up. We're going to staple these two bags together. Make sure you staple above the seam, and then we are going to freeze them. On the day of cooking, you're going to allow your steaks and your sauce to thaw. You're going to throw your steaks on your grill, barbecue them like you would, however you like to have your steaks done, whether it's rare, medium, all the way up to well done. And in the meantime, you're going to be heating up that sesame sauce on the stove. And then when you're done, you're going to serve it with the sauce. Now, I know that recently, maybe for the last year or so, I've been banging a drum about meat thermometers.
Yes, you have.
Yes, I have.
I finally converted. She talked about it so darn much.
I really did.
Especially with chicken, that I've finally converted to using a meat thermometer myself. And I have to say, my family is complaining less about me overcooking and things being dry.
Yes.
So and it was a good switch.
And sometimes, like in our Facebook group, that people will say, you know, I made this and it was dry. And my first question is, do you have a meat thermometer? Because there is a chance that it might be overcooked. And so it was just kind of a learning curve for me. I would always learn to cook chicken by it's done when it's no longer pink in the middle, which is a great way to go by, but it is slightly overcooking it sometimes. So, So I just use, it's a ThermoPro. I think it was about $30 on.
And no, we're not being sponsored by ThermoPro.
We're not being sponsored by ThermoPro. It's in our Amazon store. You can go and check. There'll be a link below in the description for that. And it tells you recommended internal temperatures right on the back. And it's got magnets. And they call it instant read. I would say it's probably 5 seconds for instant read. There are faster ones that are like 1 or 2 seconds. Recently, I've been on a quest. My oven is off. you know, sometimes how your oven just seems like it's not cooking fast enough, but you're like, it's the right temperature, what's going on? So I had suspected it for a long time, and I had bought one of those dial thermometers that you just hangs off of your grates in the oven, and I felt like it was fine. So I just threw it in my barbecue, and because my thermometer on my barbecue had actually stopped working. And then I offered actually to make some cakes for my friend's husband's 50th birthday party. He likes angel food cake, and they're hard to find.
And the angel food cakes you can get are so tiny.
At the store, like at the grocery store, they're just these little itty bitty bundt pan nothing cakes. So I'm like, no, I'll make you like real angel food cakes. Let's not get carried away here. I was not cracking eggs over this. You can make a really nice angel food cake out of a box, and it takes you a minute and a half. And so I did do that. Actually, I had bought them, and then my son made one of them. And he's like, Mom, can I make a cake? He did all the things, and he put it in the oven, and it barely rose, and it took forever to cook. And I'm like, that's it. Something is wrong with my oven. My oven is fancy enough that it has a calibration option where if you know that it's low, you can bump it up. So the next time I punch in 325 to bake something, it will actually be 325, because if it's running at 300, it's not enough. So I went and got my thermometer out of my barbecue, threw it in there, and I cranked it up to 400 because I read online, just do 400, and then if it reached your thermometer, if you can get it there, and your stove and your thermometer both say 400, you're good. And it would never get there, so I kept bumping up my calibration, like 25, 25, 25. And so, but it was never coming up over 350. I'm like, my oven, it's so terrible. So I thought, okay, I'll just bake a cake. We'll see how it goes. So I made one of the cakes, set it at 325, and I burnt it.
Because
my thermometer was not correct. My thermometer was not correct. So we know a guy, his name is Russell. He and his father-in-law run a shop near our town. It's called You Need a Barbecue. Go see Russell for your barbecue tools. And I went in and I said, Russell, I need ambient temperature of my oven. And so he's like, I got the perfect thing for you. This one was $70. The other option was $209. So I got the $70 option. And it's very nice. And
it's fancy.
Oh, it's fancy. And it's by ThermoWorks. And everything there he has is ThermoWorks, not ThermoPro. That's where you get the 1 and 2 second temperatures. But this is one that you can leave in your meat and everything.
Wow. Now, Russell is a barbecue champion. He's a world champion.
He's done the circuit.
And I mean, if anyone knows what they're talking about when it comes to barbecue, actually we should ask Russ to come and do a video.
We have talked about asking Russ to come and do a video.
Because this guy knows what he's talking about. Like knows. And so yeah, if he is using gadgets like this, that's what you do if you want the best.
Yes. So I bought this. I went home. My oven was grossly uncalibrated by this point because I'd been mucking around with it so much. And it took me, 2 more cakes, and I have it totally right. The last 2 I've made were perfect. I made 2 yesterday. I had also burnt another one in between, but that's a long story. It was a me problem, not a thermometer or oven problem. And did I tell you what I did? I had made flatbread, and I had to cook it at 425. And again, I was kind of dinking around with this, and I finally got it up to temperature, and I'm like, oh, well, now that it's at 425, I can bake a cake. And I did not turn it back down to 325. And I baked my 325 angel food cake at 425. And my kids coming downstairs, and they're like, Mom, are you burning something? And I'm like, yeah, I think I am.
That'll burn it.
I wish I took a picture of it and I could show you, but I went straight into the compost. And so my long story is, get yourself a nice calibrated thermometer and look after your meat.
Now, with your sesame steak, let's imagine that you really want to impress somebody. Imagine that you want to do like a barbecue with the best food ever. The kind of barbecue where people go home and they're like, oh, remember that time that we went to Christie's and she served that thing. Like, if you want that kind of thing, then what you want to do is you want to have the sesame steak and pair it with the Cajun shrimp skewers.
Yes, ma'am.
It's memorable. It would be like fancy enough, but yet homey enough to have on like a Canada Day or 4th of July kind of barbecue. Okay, so this is 4 ingredients and it's so simple, and you're gonna impress the people and they won't know what hit them, and they will have no idea that this took you 4 seconds or so to put together. Actually, you know, there's some squishing the bag involved, so it maybe took you 2 minutes. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna throw some shrimp in a bag. It can just be frozen shrimp if you want. You can also use fresh if you'd prefer. Then you're going to add a little splash of oil, and you're gonna just gently squish the bag to coat the shrimp in the oil. Then you're gonna add a whole bunch of Cajun seasoning. You can use store-bought or you can make your own. You're gonna, again, squish the bag to coat the shrimp. You're gonna add in a splash of lemon juice, mix it again right there in the bag. You're gonna get as much air as you can out of the bag because air can lead to freezer burn. Then you're gonna seal it and freeze it. On the day you go to cook this, you could cook these just as they are in a skillet, or to do them on the barbecue, what we suggest is you're gonna soak some bamboo skewers for about 30 minutes. You just wanna put them into like a shallow baking dish of water so that they get a nice soak so that they don't burn on your barbecue. Then you're gonna poke your shrimp through those skewers and you're gonna barbecue it over medium heat for just 5 to 7 minutes, turning once. You just want your shrimp to be cooked through, so that happens when they're pink and they start to curl up. Shrimp is very easy to overcook.
Yeah, it is.
So you don't want to eat undercooked shrimp,
No.
but overcooked shrimp is just chewy and wrong.
Yeah.
If you preferred, you could cook these in the oven under your broiler for 5 to 7 minutes, again turning once. So if you didn't have access to your barbecue, you could do that. Or if your entire barbecue is covered in sesame steak, right? Because you're having such a large gathering, then you could cook a whole tray of these in your oven.
You totally could.
Either way, this is gonna be a fantastic paired together barbecue meal, and if you don't wanna do it with the steak, you could serve these skewers over salad, over pasta, on their own. It's just good.
It is very, very good. I do remember one of the things that I ate at one of those gatherings. Do you remember when we had supper club and it was burger night and they had marinated a pineapple in a bag of Fireball for like
Fireball
days.
is like
a cinnamon
alcohol.
Yeah.
And
I talk about fire. It was, and then he rotisseried it on his barbecue, and it was insane. And then sliced it up, and we put that on our burgers. And I'm like, I don't need to eat the burger, sir. I could just have this pineapple.
It was so good.
It was so good, and we are still talking about that. And that was easily 5 years ago.
Definitely. We have had some really good meals with supper
Yes,
club.
we have.
Oh. We have one coming up actually in 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, we
the
do.
First one in a while. So we'll get back to you about what, like, we don't even know what the theme is. Maybe there's no theme.
Maybe there's no theme.
Whatever
She's made fish tacos like 3 times, and if she makes it again, I'll be so happy. Like,
she's the best at fish tacos.
She is very, very good.
She has some other things that are also really impressive.
Everything she's made has been good. She keeps threatening to make craft dinner, which is like mac and cheese, and she did one time.
Once, but from scratch, homemade, and it went along with the theme, which was the Bare Naked Ladies song, If I Had $1 Million. And in the song, they talk about craft dinner, and then the fancy ketchups. So she had made 3 homemade ketchups.
Yes, she did.
And a homemade mac and cheese, and she made a whole bunch of the other, like, all the food they talk about in the song.
Yes,
she had made.
Yeah, wrapped sausages and wrapped bacon in the foil. It was very fancy, and it was just
Dijon
they picked
ketchup.
us up in a limo.
Yeah,
It was just fancy. They have a limo. They have lots of kids, and so Her husband's like, I saw a limo one day and I just
like
bought it.
Crushed velvet interior and
Awesome. It's total 80s awesome limo. They're so fun. That is fun. I'm looking forward to it.
I am too.
She always does a great job.
Okay, we're gonna get back to barbecue meals because I know we've gone off on a little trip down memory lane.
It's okay. Come with us. It's fun there. All right.
Totally.
Teriyaki salmon is one of those that is really terrific on the barbecue. You can do it in a pouch. You could get fancy and do it on the cedar plank. Kind of like the skewers. You soak it for a bit, you throw your meat on it, and then you cook it right in the barbecue like that. And it permeates. It's just this wonderful, any kind of salmon on the cedar plank is primo. But this teriyaki salmon is excellent. In our bag, we're going to put our salmon fillets. We're going to add in some low sodium soy sauce, orange juice, water, some melted honey, some minced garlic. We just use it from a jar because we go through it so fast, and minced ginger, which we like to use from a squeezy tube. We add in chili flakes, some green onions that have been sliced, and a little bit of sesame seeds. We're gonna mix that around in our bag. We're gonna skip the bowl and skip the dishes, and then we're going to seal it up and freeze it. On the day of cooking, you're going to allow it to thaw, and like I said, you're gonna get it on your cedar plank, or you can do this in a foil packet and put it on your barbecue. Really, it's 15-20 minutes, if that. You could do this in your air fryer, probably 8 to 10 minutes at maybe about 380 or 360, or you can do this in your oven. I like to do mine at 400 for 20-ish minutes, depends how thick your salmon is. You can use your meat thermometer.
And you'll know your salmon is done when you can take a fork and just flake it off.
Yep.
Oh, salmon's really good.
Salmon is really good. I would have this with rice, obviously, and just some steamed vegetables and you're good.
This next one is one that we had done years and years ago, and then honestly we kind of forgot about it. And recently I rediscovered it because it's in one of our PDFs. We sell these meal plan, like where the thing is done for you. It's got your shopping list and your prep list and the printable labels and stuff like that. I can pop it down below, but the point is that we had this barbecue freezer stack PDF, and this recipe is in there because it is our recipe, but I had forgotten all about it. And then when we found it again when we were redesigning and updating,
kind of revamping,
PDFs, then I was like, I forgot how good this was, and so simple. So this is our honey mustard chicken burgers. All you're gonna do is you're going to take some boneless, skinless chicken breasts, and you're gonna cut them in half lengthwise so that you make sort of 8 like burger patty type things. And then you're gonna put those in a large resealable freezer bag. You're gonna add some Dijon mustard, some melted honey, Italian seasoning, a little bit of red pepper flakes, and some salt. Squish that all together in the bag to combine it, get your excess air out. You're gonna seal it, freeze it. On the day you're gonna make this, you just preheat your barbecue to medium, grill these with your lid closed for about 5 minutes per side, but you do wanna use a meat thermometer for this. Chicken is fully cooked when it reaches an internal temperature of 165 in the thickest part of the patty. So this is definitely a meat thermometer recipe.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
I was telling you earlier that there was this recipe that was like so incredibly good. This is it. It is our Copycat Costco street chicken tacos. I'm gonna pop a video up there and in the description. It's to where we did all these Copycat Costco recipes, and so we've been testing them and seeing like, are they actually good?
And these were fire. That's what you said to me.
Yes.
She sent me a text and she's like, the Copycat Costco street chicken tacos, fire.
I am still, and we had a little bit left over. Not all of our kids were home that night, and so we had some left over, and I had that chicken on salad. I had it in like this sort of wrap that was not taco related wrap. Like oh, it's so good. Anyway, I'm getting to the recipe now. So all you're gonna do is you're going to take some boneless, skinless chicken thighs. You're gonna add them to your bag. You're gonna add in some orange juice, cider vinegar, lime juice, minced garlic, chipotle chili powder, oregano, smoked paprika, cinnamon, salt, and pepper. You're gonna squish all of those amazing flavors together in your bag, and then you're going to, of course, get your air out, seal it, freeze it. On the day you're gonna make this, you thaw it, and my husband's not much of a barbecuer. We've kind of established that because he's colorblind and he's got, you know, he struggles with that. However, now that he has been converted by Christy to the meat thermometer, he's getting more confident. So he barbecued these, and right on the barbecue, you do take them out of their marinade and you toss the marinade away. But you can, you know, cook this just for 4 or 5 minutes on each side. But again, you do want to check with the meat thermometer, make sure. Then you're gonna chop this or slice it and have it in your tacos with all your taco fixings and all the goodness. And no, this did not disappoint. Like it just packed such a punch. It wasn't spicy, it was like, you know, it's got like the chipotle pepper and the smoked paprika and the cinnamon. Like it's got all these flavors. So I do suggest that you maybe give that one a try. Whichever ones you decide to try, freezer cooking and barbecue can pair together so incredibly well.
They really, really do.
I'm gonna pop the Costco Copycat video right over there. Thank you so much for joining us today, and happy cooking and happy barbecuing.
Happy barbecuing. Bye.